Hey, Seminole State family, welcome to Research Rally Live. We are faculty librarians at Seminole State College of Florida. I'm Nicole.
I'm Jason.
Hi, Russ.
And we want to spend the next 30 minutes doing research with you. We're about to search, sift, sort, and suss our way through several sources. As always, we want to hear from you in the chat, especially if you have a research question. But before we get into that, let's find out what's going on at Seminole State. And what's going on at Seminole State is a little different.
A little tricky this week, right?
And usually we have Andrea joining us, but she's actually just finishing up a silent book club meeting. Ooh. And the silent book clubs are in Raider Connect, and I'll pop that in my screen. Okay, Raider Connect, if you Google Raider Connect. And I actually pulled up the banned book event that is supposed to happen this Friday. Okay, but as we know, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow with the storm Helene, with the Hurricane Helene. So, we'll sit on this. We don't know if we're going to be open on Friday. But again, Raider Connect is your one-stop shop for everything that's going on at the college. Let me see if she has another silent one coming up. I know she does. And they're at different times and dates. Okay, look, silent. I searched silent and I got some other silent book clubs coming up. So you don't need to read the same book. You just come and talk about whatever book you're reading, really free form and enjoyable. And again, we don't know if we're going to have our banned book event this Friday, but at any given time, you can come into the library. You're welcome to come into the library and we can Google. It's a simple Google search, searching for banned or challenged books. Usually the ALA, American Library Association, is one of the, more, the most trustable. Is trustable a word? It is now. Sources to find those lists of books that have either been challenged, like, hey, we want to take this off the shelf, or actually banned and actually taken off of a library shelf somewhere. Okay. So we can talk more about it if you want to come in, and we can see if we have some in the library and we can check them out to you, right? Because we don't ban books, right guys?
We play in bands and read books.
I was just telling somebody,
yeah,
in the entire time I've worked here, 18 years, I think we have had exactly one book challenge. And it was a book that we ended up removing, but it was because it was a children's book that had some like more adult themes to it. We decided it was probably better to not keep that particular book. But as far as I'm aware, we have never had another book challenge.
Nope.
Students in the chat, make sure to put your name and the name of your professor. And if you watch the entire show, we go until 3:30. We will drop the attendance link at the end. So we're already seeing some folks. And be sure to use the chat, engage with the librarians, ask us questions. We want to make sure that we're helping you find the information you need to succeed. Back to you, Nicole.
Love that sound of that mic. I need one of those. I don't have a fancy thing.
That is called that is a popper. That is a pea.
Popper.
That is a pea, for your pee, so you don't pop your peas.
Okay, I don't want to. Well, I'll have to pop my peas in the meantime. Okay, and as we said, we are librarians, but we have one of our special librarians in training, and I keep pointing this out that Maha is a librarian in training because hey, listen,
she's a candidate.
A candidate.
She's a master's degree candidate. You are now in the candidate. You are ordained as a candidate. Maha, how do you feel about said candidacy?
I feel great.
You know, you have a little glow around you. It's almost like you won an award yesterday at the college awards ceremony.
I heard about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That happened.
I was very surprised.
She was very,
unexpected.
Very
oh. Okay. Any award ceremony speech like you'd want to give now on the national internet? We're live on the national internet.
No, I feel so appreciated and loved, and it was like such a shock and a surprise, but it was beautiful. And thank you everybody who nominated me.
Yes, Maha won the award for greatest person in the history of mankind for the next year.
That was Maha.
For the next year. And then we give it, the school gives it to somebody else next year.
I think my cousin is also,
Is that your cousin?
Oh, yeah, hey, Maha's cousin.
Okay. All right.
And I point out, Maha, that you are a librarian in training because, hey, our students are whatever is in training. And so let's celebrate that distinction that, hey, we're becoming something, right? Like, let's not try to be like, oh, I'm not already a librarian. I'm not good enough. No, like you're in the process. And so I think that's important to celebrate that part of the journey and not be so oh, I'm not there yet. Like, I just can't wait to be a librarian. Like, no, you can wait and you can learn in the meantime. It's like, we enjoy the journey, right? So we are talking today about, should predatory lending be banned? All right, let's talk about our prompt here. Banned, when we say banned, we just talked a little bit about banned books. This is banned books week this week, okay? Nationally. Maybe internationally? No, nationally.
Cosmically.
So if we're talking about we want to ban something, like, what exactly does that mean?
It's a good place to start. Probably look
Yeah.
at Webster's dictionary and see what ban is, and we want to ban it, get rid of it. And then what is predatory lending? So students, we give you a prompt here, just like in your English class, your history class, your humanities class, your speech class. And our prompt that we're giving you is should predatory lending be banned? If you don't know what predatory lending is, you're probably going to have to do a search right now. You always want to start with that definition and figure that out.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
so
that
go ahead,
means
let's see.
arguing in a paper, oh, predatory lending should be banned. Well, that literally means we're saying gone, illegal, nobody has access to it for any reason. So that's kind of serious, right? That's kind of a big deal. That's like, if we're going to use that term banned, we want to be very specific about our language when we have a research prompt, when we have a paper prompt, right?
Yeah. Outlawed, against the law, something like that. Is banned too soft? Anyway, this is the prompt, so we have to dissect it first. We haven't done any research yet, but we got to figure out what it is that we're researching, right? Okay. So in the chat, give us a yes or no, or let us know if you understand the concept of what this is, and we're gonna dissect it here for you.
And
shortly.
Also, like, yeah, give us a shout if like you know what predatory lending is. So when I started doing some research for this, I knew that one of my favorite databases I would definitely wanted to go to, because it's we talk a lot about basic information to start your research. Like Jason said, like, just Google the term and make sure you understand the word, right? I mean, like, no hate, no shade, but just make sure you know what you're talking about, right? Well, I want some basic information of what is predatory lending. Yes, I could do a Google search, but for really reference information, basic information about a topic, we talk a lot about Credo reference, but in this databases link on the library homepage, another one of our favorites, and I know that we talk about this one all the time. Database draw. We're always drawing this database using Viewpoint. And this is Scale. Scale is the brand. So, Predatory. And I'm going to want to make sure that I spell it.
So we're accessing the databases from seminolestate.edu/library. On that main page, there's a button that says databases, and we've accessed one. Write this one down, students. This is a good one for all of your classes. It's called Opposing Viewpoints. And boom, we found a basic landing page that's going to give us more information there. Right in the middle, we're going to click on that.
Yeah, I'm going to click on that in a moment. But just to quickly point out, like, we've got all the different types of resources that might talk about predatory lending in this database. Different types, magazines, academic journals. That's going to be like more of your peer reviewed. Okay, infographics. And we got featured viewpoints, which are kind of like book reports. So they're not academic. They're not like peer reviewed articles, but you can trust them in the sense that they're very well vetted. Okay. Well, Ross, do you want to expound?
Well, a lot of them, what they are is they're taken from the actual physical opposing viewpoints books. They're like the chapters from those books that they put into the database. So some of them do come from like original sources and they've been repackaged, but it's kind of hard to know what it is until you look at it.
Okay.
So getting a handle on predatory lending.
And boom, so right here, Nicole, I would just jump in here and look at the first sentence. Anytime you go to any of these databases, specifically this one, it'll tell you exactly what it is, drop my full stop, and that'll help kind of ease some of the stress here, because I'm sure some of the students are like, bro, I logged into this thing. What's predatory lending? What are you guys even talking about? Read that first sentence and then take a beat.
Totally. And this came up yesterday. Jason talked to a student today that asked him about this. Reading levels, or L for lexile, which is, I guess, a fancy word for describing a reading level. I don't know exactly. Maybe if you're an education major watching, you can let us know in the chat. So it's set on 11440. I don't know what this means to me, but I do know that if I pick a lower number, it's going to be an easier reading level. And hey, I'm not trying.
Changed about that?
Some words change. Maybe they cut out one word from that opening sentence.
Yes.
If you do it again, now we're playing a little game here. Because
Yes.
it goes
That's
to
really
the second
interesting.
sentence there.
Like exploitation. They take out some vocabulary words that maybe are like elevated. Again, you probably can understand the higher one, but if you want to do like less mental stress and work to like understand, especially if you're new to a topic, hey, put it on a lower lexile level or switch between them, play around with it.
So let's read it together. Predatory lending refers to any lending practice that imposes unfair or abusive terms on the borrower. You, my friends, you are the borrower. You are borrowing, and that is predatory lending. So you are getting unfair or abusive terms, and that probably will mean more money that you'll have to pay, or you'll have to do more hoops to jump through or something. It's bad for the borrower. So let that kind of sink in, and just jump to the middle paragraph there, Nicole. Just really quick. You see credit cards, credit, mortgages. Anytime you're borrowing from someone else, this predatory lending, which we're still going to investigate, who's predatory, who's lending, all this stuff. The consumer is going to get jammed up here with unfair or abusive terms. Are we getting that concept? Put a Y in the chat, put an N in the chat. Back to you, Nicole.
Yeah, so that could include like a high interest rate. So if I borrow like $10 from Jason and he wants to charge me interest, when I pay him back, I have to pay him back the $10 I originally borrowed from him. And then depending on his personal interest rate, I don't know what it is. What is it? Can we do
99.9% interest?
Dang it. Then I'd have to give him almost $20 back, right?
Yes, but since I'm predatory lending, if you give me money back today on a Wednesday, today it's 475% interest. So I just need more money from that original 10. You see how this works, guys? This is no bueno, no good here. Predatory lending, bad.
Okay. Unreasonable payback terms, high fees for a late pament, which like anyone can have for different reasons, but like when they're like going to charge you like so much money for a late payment instead of just like a little bit tiny, a little bit out of your pocket. Excessive interest and fees. Okay, we've talked about that.
So keep this going, and then go back to, and this is what you should be doing for your own research. Now go back to the prompt. We've given you a couple nuggets, a little appetizer. We told you about what this is. Should it be banned? Should it be outlawed? Now you're going to start thinking about it. You're probably going to start forming an opinion like, yeah, we don't want that. No, that's crummy. That's bad. We don't want that. Okay, great. So now you're leaning towards one side. Remember, we're on opposing viewpoints database. So you're either on one side of the argument or the other. And now your brain probably, everyone here on the show, my brain's going, okay, how am I going to write this paper? I know it should be banned. What am I going to do? What's my intro, my body, my conclusion? But what am I searching for?
Okay, but now we preach this and we practice this. So, excessive interest rates. Yes, I'm immediately going to be like, that's bad for the borrower. But I think we might want to keep our minds open as we do.
Are we switching viewpoints?
Why would someone not want this to be banned? So if I'm already deciding, look, this is unfair to the borrower, it's actually like making them have less money than they did before because of these really high interest fees that add on to the money I have to pay back. But why do these exist, and why might somebody want to not ban them? I'm just like putting that out there as
sure.
We are doing in this research. Now, you may have heard of payday loans. So if you go to Amscot is one of the places that you would get a payday loan. Auto title loans. So if you own a car and it's worth like $7,000 and you could get a loan where you maybe borrow $2,000 and basically if you don't pay back that $2,000 plus the interest, which is going to be high because it's predatory lending, they could take your car from you because your car, the title to your car is like the guarantee for them, the lender, to get the money back from you. Pawn loans, you take something in the pawn shop and then they give you money and then you have to give the money back to get your thing back. I don't know, heirloom ring, is it like grandpa's guitar? Like, okay, so these are kind of some serious situations people can end up in.
And usually what happens is this is targeted towards folks from a lower socioeconomic class who necessarily don't have the money to begin with. And then they say, oh, but I really want to get so-and-so. So they borrow the money at these high interest rates and then they'll have to pay that back. But the problem is see the previous sentence. Well, they don't have the money to begin with. So now they're in debt and now they're ranking up more money. And so you can see short-term dollar loans here, subprime lending when you get to like a house, a 30-year mortgage, these kinds of things. Now, basically, folks, you're on the hook. Like, you signed the contract, you can't get out of it. It starts to be really bad. And again, you didn't have the money to begin with, but you wanted the something. So I think that's kind of a crossroads as well that I would probably put in here. I'd look at the blue background here, the main ideas and all that stuff. Of course, now you can highlight that on this database.
Oh,
Ooh,
I've got this feature. So here
nice.
are the reasons that predatory lending might, someone might go for some of these products that are technically predatory lending is low credit score, lack of credit history, high debt load or low income. And again, going back to what Jason pointed out, and that is in this article, is that predatory lending disproportionately affects lower income and minority populations, like per statistics. And if I go back I'm going to click on predatory lending right here to get to my home page for this topic. And I'm going to scroll down, and I've got a statistics link to help me out with, can I find some statistics looking at data on underbanked? Okay, here's another keyword, underbanked people. Again, low credit score, lower income. So these are the people that, are falling victim to these high interest rates and predatory lending. But back on that note, I mean, let's kind of just talk about this before we go to another database. Like, if they banned predatory lending, and let's say someone uses a payday loan to like pay their bills so their lights don't get turned off and their water doesn't get turned off, their kids can take a bath before school in the morning, like what is the solution? I mean, it's banned. They can't get that money, and they don't have a credit card maybe, or I don't know. Like, what are your guys some thoughts off the top of your head about that? Because again, banned, meaning we'd argue that it should be completely illegal.
I mean, yeah, then you start getting into like the whole like free market kind of conversation. Like, I mean, if they're offering a loan, like, why shouldn't they be able to offer it? I guess it doesn't mean you have to take it. I could see that argument being made. I might not agree with it fully, but I mean,
Maha, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this?
I think people have to be more educated on it, I guess, because maybe some people don't know. Like, they'll just see, oh my God, low, like it's like a low interest. And then there's a concept that I saw that's called the balloon loans, that it's like a small loan and then it goes higher and higher. So I don't know if it should be banned because it could be extreme, but I think people should be more educated on the topic and they should know more about it.
Okay. And then I feel like isn't there a search within this topic? Oh, wait, I was in statistics because I'm thinking, you mentioned that, and I'm thinking regulation. Maybe if we look at regulation, because what you're speaking of, Maha, is, well, education, but it's hard to like educate everybody everywhere, right? But if there's regulation or laws that control or
for not to get to a point where it's like taking a lot of like a big advantage of the person.
Okay, maybe that's something. A rule opening the door for predatory lenders should be rescinded by Congress. So,
and keep in mind, you guys, the word predatory, have we looked up that word yet? That is not a friendly word. That's not a safe word. That's not a nice word. Predatory. Has anyone ever heard of the movie The Predator? Any incarnation of the Predator? That's bad. That's when they're pouncing on you. That's when they know. And to Maha's point, to be more educated. Unfortunately, those corners are not going to be turned, so to speak. The person is in need of something now, for whatever that is. And so I'm going to ask you, you're going to give me the money, and then I'm going to have to owe you and owe you and owe you. Now, this is happening here kind of in the real world, but you guys also know that this may happen kind of in the underworld, right? Somebody around the corner from the block, they may give you money, and then if you don't pay the money back, I think there's something bad going to happen to you if you don't pay the money back. And then that won't be so bad that you won't go and get the money later at even more of an interest rate. So this is kind of comparable, which brings back the illegality, right? You're talking about, should this be banned? But I think it's happening. And you pulled up a previous article where they just do payouts. They get sued and they did a payout. It said it on the statistics. I think one of those ones that was on there. And it basically said, they paid the United States so-and-so money. And then they keep doing what they're doing. Do you know how many people there are in the country? Do you know how many, how many people are just kind of looking for them? This is a very aggressive form of lending, but they do it and they keep getting away with it.
Yeah, and it's about ethics, right? Like, what are your morals with it? taking advantage of people.
Yeah. Sure. And that's, I mean, I guess that's kind of like one of the pitfalls of the, like Ross, you were talking about the way the economy works, so that it's like free and open, that like people can make stuff to sell and you can choose whether or not to buy it, because a loan is basically like you're buying something. You're buying money from somebody.
So students, on this page, see if you can notice what I'm referring to. There's something here. Don't scroll up or don't scroll down, Nicole.
Okay.
On this page, there's something that's a little, I don't want to say it. I don't want to give it away, but I find something on here that I might want to have something a little more new, a little more recent. Do you know in the chat? Let me know in the chat. Because this article looks good on the top, but when I start looking at when, it looks a little old, and it's saying lawmakers should support 7 years ago. What happened over those 7 years? And what's it looking like now?
Pre-pandemic, so a lot has changed in the landscape of economics since then. So, and society is so, yeah, for sure.
And you could see the previous articles on the Explore on the right-hand side. The little guys win one on payday loans from 2017. And then the New York Times writes again, what lending rules should look like. Yes, bro, but that was a decade ago. That was a decade ago. So I'd like to find closer information to now, especially on this topic. Maybe
Ross,
we can.
What did you turn up with?
Well, I was actually just kind of following along with you. So I was just playing along with the opposing viewpoints and all.
Okay.
I do like what Jason just pointed out, though, about how they'll recommend sources to you. And you can kind of follow the breadcrumbs, right? Like they have related subjects, because maybe it's not predatory lending that we're really talking about, but maybe we're talking about specifically about subprime loans. And that's slightly different, right? It's the type of predatory lending. I'm a big fan of doing that. I think more and more the especially as AAI.
Ross, you a bot? I think you just cut out. You just went like.
But now, and again, we're losing. We're losing some folks in the chat. I think there may be some confusion here, or this topic may be a little too difficult. Should we keep this title? We're still on predatory lending, but should we change it? Should we change it to something like predatory lending is not good for the consumer who doesn't have money? Or does it have to be a question? And I'm asking you all in the chat, please. We have 10 viewers there, 10 eyeballs. That's 470 trillion people that are watching. So thank you all for watching.
Man. Tell us about it.
I am. So, but should we change it based on what we've looked at? Give a Y or a no in the chat, or tell us, is this too confusing of a topic? Let us know. Be honest.
So going back to kind of like the bias thing, remember, okay, if you want to know more about these businesses that do predatory lending, they're not going to say, hey, we do predatory lending. Our business name is such and such, and I'm the CEO. Like, they're going to refer to themselves in different terms, right? So I think if we wanted to find information about them, we couldn't search predatory lending. I was thinking, okay, let me see what else I can find. I went to the library database page and clicked on business, and I went with the first best bet. And good thing to point out, this looks like the last database, kind of, right? Opposing Viewpoints, because they're both owned by the same company, Gale, right? But this is a different database with different information, maybe some overlap here and there. But I just want to point that out, that sometimes that can be confusing. If you come and say, hey, librarian, I need help finding an article. I was in the Gale database. We're going to be like, which one? You know, and we'll help you find it. Okay, even if you don't remember the specific name. But this is Gale Business, okay? And before we were in Gale Opposing Viewpoints. So my search term that I tried, I was like mortgage access or auto loan access. I went ahead with auto loan because I was like, I don't know. Like, I can't search predatory lending, or I could search auto title loan in here, but I was just trying to come up with some different keywords. I don't know if y'all have some other ideas, because I was kind of stumped on this one. Like, how would I search for articles that are like pro predatory lending?
So you want to look at, so Nicole, we're bringing up a good idea to look at the library databases, but sometimes, friends, in the research, you may get a hiccup or a roadblock and you're just like, oh, I'm done with this. Go have a snack. Go walk around the block. Go drink a glass of water. Get out of the mindset for a minute, and then maybe leave the databases and let's go into a Google search, and maybe let's put in predatory lending GOV. Let's look at the government agency, the federal agency results, because I think we're going to get some good information that would address your exact question, right? Is it unethical? How is there even proof that they're lending, but we have to leave what?
Look, Moody's Analytics rolls out free access to loan level mortgage. Okay. Reported it will provide complimentary access to loan level mortgage and auto data to help market participants analyze the impact of anticipated COVID related recession. I feel like this might be kind of going down that road, but we'd have to spend a lot more time. Namaha, is that what you do? What Jason said, you go get a snack when you need a break?
Oh, yes.
Break from studying. I saw you smile. Yeah, I was like, that's some good advice right there.
Walk, and then I do a Google search.
Hey, yeah, Google, we're not going to tell you not to go to Google. That can't be the only place you go. That can't, what I mean?
Wouldn't it take me to the .gov from the Google search?
When you put in gov, so again, we're talking keywords here, and specifically, if you put in predatory lending gov, take a look at the examples that come up there, and take a look, more importantly, at the sources. You want to look at the sources because you're evaluating this information. It's your paper, it's your money that's going to your credits on your tuition, and hopefully your credit, your certificate or your degree. So you want to pay for it, and you want to make sure you get a good return on your investment. So when you look at those results that are coming up, predatory lending gov, you're seeing a lot of information. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, otherwise known as the FDIC, HUD, right? The Office of Housing Counseling. There's a lot of information that comes up. And notice the web domains. Are they .govs? Are they .orgs? If it's a .com and you can't find the author's name or date, you might want to skip that one, right? There's a HUD one there for Florida Redirect HUD. And that's HUD.gov. And we somehow got back here.
Oh, by the way, back to just real quick. So under the business, emergent intellect, I went here to search for the auto loan industry, which is something a lot of our viewers, watchers, students might be familiar with. And I thought it was interesting that I could look at the names of, loan. I could look at the names of some of these companies, automobile loans, and I could kind of figure out who probably was doing predatory lending from their name. Okay, Mitsubishi, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Wait, where's this one? Where is it? Some of them are called like Let's Make a Deal Lending, or where is it? Easy Auto Credit. Okay. Easy Auto Credit. If they make something sound like, oh, it's just so easy, it's just so great, like, yeah, this is easy, this is what you want to do. I feel like there was another one that was weird. Credit acceptance, like one of them was called credit acceptance. Anyway, just pointing out, pay attention to, again, going back to the vocabulary. Like if you go to borrow money from someone that's called easy money place for you, why is it so easy to get that money you want? You need to, like, as a consumer, as a citizen, you need to think about those things anytime that you are borrowing money for anything, car, home, like you need to pay bills, you need to get money somehow. You're gonna have some consequences from it, especially if it's so easy. And again, it's easy up front, but then those high interest rates, and that's the big thing that really affects people negatively over time. You kind of get into a rabbit hole of debt, really. So that's what that predatory lending is all about. And, we want people to be educated on it for sure. Should it be banned? I don't know. I think the verdict's still out on that. We could probably argue about that all day, but that's not what we're going to do. We got a party tonight. Okay. We have Nightberry going on, right, guys?
Right, Nicole.
Now, before we sign off, since we do have this storm Helene that we mentioned earlier, if you're watching and if you're in the Central Florida or Florida areas, and actually pay attention up through the Northeast and like the middle America states, because these storms can have lasting impacts of flooding, landslides, rivers rising and things. So pay attention wherever you're at, wherever you're watching from. How many people are watching? There might be some in a different state.
There's 9, so it's 745 billion. Oh, we just lost one, so it's 695 trillion.
They're like, peace.
But, we could use this here. Students, what are you searching for the hurricane? Or this tropical storm? What is it now? Where is it? Where is it going to be? What are the spaghetti models? How do you look for this information? Let us know in the chat, and we're going to give out the attendance link here in just a minute. But what would you search for? Walk us through it. Is there any credible websites? Hint, hint, NOAA.gov, hint, hint. That would be a .gov, and that would be the National Oceanic Association. Yeah. There's another A in there.
Now, if you're in Seminole County, go to seminolecounty.gov, click on this link. As of like 30 minutes ago, we couldn't find the shelter information on there yet. So I will tell anyone that's watching from the Seminole County area. I went to SCPS. Okay, I searched SCPS because I know Seminole County Public Schools provide the shelters. That's why schools are closed. I could not get this link to refresh. So I'm just putting out there, if you're thinking about going to a shelter, if that's the best choice for you, if you're in a low-lying area, a mobile home, or maybe a 10th floor apartment or whatever, and that makes you nervous, presumably at any given time they will have shelters posted. But if you tune into local news, a lot of times they have the information maybe before. And we said, hey, this website's not loading. It's probably a bunch of people on there looking for shelter. So
could be. And we put in the chat, it's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Yes. And that is part of the United States Department of Commerce, and that is a .gov. So you know that it's a credible and reliable site. So we put that in the chat, and go ahead and use it. And we're coming up on our time here. Anybody have any questions, thoughts, concerns, compliments, anything at all, suggestions?
Well, we just want to thank you for joining us today. And remember, we are librarians. We are here to assist you with research, citations, and information needs. There's no question too big, no question too small, no question too weird. We want to hear it all. We can save you time. We can save you stress. So why haven't we heard from you yet? You can make a research appointment or use 24/7 library chat. Those and additional contact options are linked on the library website, sem.st/library. Just Google Seminole State Library. You'll find us. And if you like hanging out with librarians, give us a like, share, and subscribe today. And so then we can see you next time.
Click on the link for credit. College is closed tomorrow, Thursday. Stay tuned to the website.
Tomorrow.
SeminoleState.edu. Thank you. We'll see you at Nightberry. Bye.